Alright, let's keep going with this. It's been a while since I filmed a long tutorial for you guys, so I just want to keep pushing with this. And so, I'm looking at this whole section. Let me just make sure this is actually on the camera. And I'm just going to slide this. Sometimes it would be nice if I did this before I started the camera tape. Okay, so basically, I am just still working on the side of the barn. And I just filmed a quick little drawing tip of the week about the barn. And basically what I stated, and I've been talking about it a lot, is you should watch the drawing tip of the week too. I'll put it on the same page as this video. But basically what I said was, when you do this sort of thing where you outline each individual piece of wood, it has a tendency to make your drawings look really stylized. And so what you need to do is you really need to emphasize the imperfections of the wood, and you need to soften some of these outlines so it just doesn't look too perfect. And the way that you do that is what I've been doing here. And I've just been adding all the different texture, like the mold, the mildew, the knots, and all the other things that are happening. But the other thing that I'm going to push a little bit more on this is these vertical lines, okay? Just because I think the vertical lines will just still allow the building to go back into perspective, but not so much that, it looks strange. So I'm just down near the ground, perhaps. Maybe there'd be some more stains on the wood because it's lower to the ground. And I'm just, still trying to match some values over here so the separations of the wood aren't so prominent. Okay, and this, I really like the way this section looks right now, but it's just not matching the rest of my drawing. So my goal is just to take it out of quick, stylized mode into realism mode, and I'm just trying to make everything look a little bit more realistic. And outlining is not the way to go for realism, okay? If you outline everything, it's not going to look realistic. Now, the other thing that I got to just keep in mind is just constantly looking at the photo reference for different, grains of wood, different things that I can add to this drawing so it doesn't look so similar. But I do like the way that it's coming out. I definitely do. It's just tedious, but, I enjoy it. I just wish I was faster, to say the least. Today I'm on a tear. I don't know how many of you are actually going to listen to this video, but it's been a while since I've been back in my studio full time with all the nonsense that's been going on with my life with the move, and I'm definitely in more of a routine now, and things are starting to fall back into place, and I've got some really new exciting things coming up for everybody this year, 2010. I don't want to spill the beans on any of them just yet, but there's a lot of new things that I'm going to be doing, and Mondays are going to be devoted to filming new tutorials for DTO, and I'll probably won't try to squeeze filming and editing and uploading all into the same day. What I'll most likely do is just film on Monday, upload on a Wednesday, teach on Tuesday. So I won't kill myself with this because it's very easy to get burned out, and I became very burned out with illustration towards the latter part of my illustration career, and it showed in my work. So it's good to try to avoid burnout, and unfortunately to avoid burnout you've got to take breaks, and you guys saw the break that I took with DTO over the month of January, where my content creation was a bit on the low side. So I feel like I'm a little bit more rejuvenated now, and I have the crux of my studio set up here with my video camera next to my easel, and my easel next to my drawing table. It took me a real long time. I never thought in a million years that this would take me so long to kind of figure all this stuff out, because I have a big, beautiful north light window, but it's not always the ideal situation that is going to work for you. So I actually moved everything away from the north window, and I moved it to a corner of the room, and everything is just so much more situated and so much more organized, and it's pretty cool. And so, I feel much more relaxed now working on this drawing. And the whole deal with this drawing is just trying to keep the left and the right side similar, because, a lot changes in a couple of months, because I worked on this, the last time I worked on it was November. A lot changes in a couple of months with the way that you're using the pencil. So I'm just trying to make everything look similar. And now I'm working on these stones. Okay, so, wow, I don't have reference for stones. Definitely not. I'm kind of making this up, which is a no-no, but, why not? So we don't copy everything on this drawing. Some people don't like that. So I'm actually using part of my eraser. And I don't want there to be any clear, so to speak, lines on these stones like the wood grain. Trying to make them a little bit more about the separation of the stones. A little bit smoother. Just to throw in a different texture, and I'll stipple some stuff with them. Make this really black. I could actually really discolor one piece of this. I hope you guys are getting something from this, how I'm adding all the details. This is, again, I keep talking about my students and this big black and white piece that they're working on. But honestly, this is huge, being able to add this texture like this, because they'll get to a certain point and the drawing will be good. And I'll take one guy, for example. I showed you his sketchbook, Scott. Scott's a great artist, but, he attempted painting. And my class with them is not about me teaching them painting skills. It's far from that. But he got to a certain point with the paint, and he called me over, and he's like, Matt, I did exactly what you asked. I added all the values in the drawing. I matched the values. I did the 3-value study. I did the compositional shape, but it doesn't look like what I want it to look like. And I'm like, Scott, now it's just all a matter of you sitting down and doing texture. The texture of the moss on the tree trunk, the texture of the trunk of the tree, the grass texture versus the lack of texture in the background. He's like, oh, but I don't know how to do that. And I was just like, all right, well, my short answer is you got to just focus on the different ways that you're going to use your paintbrush. Are you going to tap it? Or are you going to do dry brush? Or are you going to do wet into wet? All these little things will create, bark on a tree and moss and stuff like that. And unfortunately, Scott, all those little things are also going to take you time. So you just want to be prepared for that. It's not going to just all of a sudden happen for you. And so it was a good conversation that I had with him. But, the texture thing and the time thing is what takes your artwork to the next level. And again, I'm speaking to people specifically who are going for this kind of realistic effect with their drawings and not so much stylized, even though I have nothing against stylized artwork. I promote it all the time in my classes, especially with the students. I keep giving them options. I'm like, do you want your piece to be realistic, or do you want it to be stylized like an animation, or stylized like a comic book? And I keep making them think about that, because that is like everything. And I keep trying to get them to say, make sure you have a role model. Have a role model for your piece that you're working on. That's super, super, super important to have a role model in terms of what is the end game, what is your drawing going to look like when it's finished, so you know when to stop. That's really, really important to have that idea of when am I going to stop. Does this drawing actually look like the drawing that I'm aspiring to draw like? Okay. Not about copying somebody, it's just about trying to know what your end game is. So I'm just plowing this in now. I'm going to go dark with this. Hurts your hand to do this, but I just got to get this all done before we stop filming. All right, we're going to move on next chapter.